I can see now that she wrote, yeah, she was at a Sephora. Which Sephora this was? This is definitely the announcement that I guess so many of you are waiting for. And that is another release from Natasha Denona. I'm so excited whenever I see something new coming out of her line. According to a recent announcement from Trendmoon and KC Bell Beauty, a retro glam palette. I would say that it's glam version of a retro idea rather than combination of her glam and retro palette combined. So a few years ago, Natasha released her mini retro palette, but apparently there was a demand for a bigger retro palette. But when the retro palette came out, the color story was different than the mini one. And I would say that this is the palette that actually introduced the real retro vibe. We can see that by a cover. We can see that within the color story as well. So what I can see from this video, apparently, I don't understand this. Everybody says that this has been leaked, but is it true though? Maybe sometimes that happens, of course, but I keep on thinking that these releases, they don't actually, every time they leak somewhere, it's just that it can be that is maybe even strategically made, especially if there is big demand for a product. I don't know. It's just my opinion, but what is true, I don't know what's going on. Anyways, she somehow managed to film this in Sephora, if I understood that correctly. Now it's officially at a Trendmoon page. First thing, when I look at this color story, it reminds me of a winter. So I would say this is definitely winter color story. It is so cool tone and diffused, I would say. This palette will be priced at $69. So that is midi-sized palette. From what I can see here, we are going to get a 8 metallics, 6 mattes. I even think that is evergreen eyeshadow. I think it might be powder to matte, I'm not sure. But just thinking according to what is in this picture, it might be that that is. If that's the case, I would love that. I love her formula. For example, this right here, this cream to powder, the black one is the best one that I've tried. The formula is so good, and this is the blackest black eyeshadow I actually have. I absolutely love it. I love this. This is one of the lightest palettes she released. So when I look at these eyeshadow names, I think they're named like in a spirit of retro vibe rather than some winter names. I can see now that she wrote, yeah, she was at a Sephora and actually she saw this. Which Sephora this was? Now, if I want to comment about this color story, I would say I would love to do something with these diffused greens. Love the undertones. Again, not quite sure what I would do with this Holy and Belle eyeshadows, even though they would be nicely combined with the greens. And we can see that by the combination of the colors that are actually here. When we look at the packaging of this palette, we can see lighter shades going through darker shades, and in the background are the combination of Holy and Belle eyeshadows. So we can see how that would look like. And even the packaging, it's not my style, but it definitely reflects the whole idea of this eyeshadow palette. Excited about this lighter flutter shade. But again, when I look at the mattes, we don't have lighter matting here. When I first tried the Glam palette, I was thinking that this shade right here would be light enough to lighten up, but that's not the case. Unfortunately, I feel like in these eyeshadows, we do have depth. This is not super deep, dark palette. I would say it is, when it comes to depth, medium to deep, but it's not doesn't have super depth, for example, like this one. Or even the Glam palette. But when it comes to light, that's one thing I actually miss in this palette. I have to go into my other palettes just to achieve that. Anyways, however, it would be nice to see what we can combine with these colors. I'm thinking to use these greens first. I'm excited about them when I get my hands on this palette. Hopefully, I'm thinking maybe it will be released in the mid-November. That's just my guess. We'll see once this becomes official. I don't know if it's going to be in Sephora exclusive first, or I don't know what's gonna happen, because sometimes releases come first in Europe, or sometimes it's just in Sephora in America, and then a couple of days after in Europe. So it depends, right? Don't know what's gonna happen with this one. Definitely not something that it's, I would say, my style, but it's something I would like to try, and I think I can get used out of it. Let me know in the comments what you think about this one. Is this Can you see yourself using these colors? They are not vibrant at all. They are so cool tone. Again, this is not my style, but something I would like to play with when it comes to colors. That is all I know for now, and if I've got any information, additional information, I will link that down below. If you want to see how I achieved this, not complete look, but the eye look, this video is coming next on my channel. And guys, before that, make sure before you leave to watch this video, and of course I will see you in my next one. I'm so excited to see another release from Natasha Denona. I really love the brand, and I'm sure I'm sharing my happiness along with you. Let me know your thoughts. I'll see you soon. Bye.